Hello everyone. So this is going to be a video of my favorite 2009 releases. Albums mostly that came out in 2009. And also a couple of compilations as well. So in the background is Compact, their annual compilation total, number 10, which was released in 2009. So they always have some really good minimal techno. And first off, this wasn't an album released in 2009. It's not even an album, it's just a compilation of My Bloody Valentines, some of their earlier work, Before Loveless. It's actually called Before Loveless. And it's actually a bootleg, but it's done really well. And almost all of the tracks on here are really hard to get on vinyl, so this was a really good compilation that collects them all. Not all of them, but a certain period. And they had some excellent EPs. And ELO Box, I know you were talking about how you're not much into shoegaze, but My Bloody Valentine I would consider their album Loveless to be a classic album in the same way that Dark Side of the Moon or Sgt. Pepper's is, so I definitely recommend checking that album out. So this is a live album from York. It's called Voltaic, and it has a bunch of extra stuff like remixes. So I think it's a three vinyl set, or let's see. Yeah, it's got three LPs and a CD and a DVD. So it's a big package. I think it's still available for a decent price too if you're interested. I like everything York's put out, including Volta, so I really like that one. And here's the first album that is on the list. This is Moritz von Oswald Trio's Vertical Ascent, released on Honest John's Records. It's a double LP with just 4 tracks that are titled Pattern 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's really kind of experimental. They mix electronics and acoustics in a way that is pretty unique, almost like Super Silent. It's really improvisation based, so I think that one's really good. It also includes Moritz von Oswald was a member of Basic Channel, and also in the band is Vladislav Delay, who also releases a lot of electronic music that I always enjoy, so that one's recommended. And this is Land of Kush, Against the Day from Constellation Records, 2009. They also released an album in 2010 which featured some really strange computerized vocals that I don't think worked very well personally. That album there, Against the Day, does not have those computerized vocals, and I think it's a lot better for it. It is on Constellation Records, but I would hardly say it's post-rock. It's more just experimental rock with some jazziness and some Middle Eastern influences as well. So this one, if you don't know about it, on Constellation Records, it's an excellent album. Strongly recommended. Next, this is Fever Ray's self-titled album, Fever Ray. I was a big fan of The Knife just a couple years before this album, when they released their album Silent Shout. I fell in love with the band, and this is Karen Dreher's first solo album. It kind of continues in the same way that The Knife sounded like, but even a bit more atmospheric, almost ambient at times, really moody. That one's really good. And along with that, I have this 7-inch single from Fever Ray. It's Stranger Than Kindness and Here Before. Here Before is a song from Vashti Banyan. And I think Stranger Than Kindness is also a cover, but I'm not sure who does the original. And And then we have Grizzly Bear's album, Veckatimest. Also, this 7-inch single live on KCRW, which is While You Wait for the Others and He Hit Me. So this is just, Grizzly Bear are a really good indie rock band that I fell in love with their album Yellow House. And this is also a really great album. Then this one is The Field with Yesterday and Today from Compact Records. The Field's album previous to this, it was called From Here We Go Sublime. That was actually one of the very first techno albums that I really enjoyed. So The Field, I owe a lot of my appreciation of techno to, and this album is nearly just as good as his first one, I think. It even features a guy on drums named John Santier, I believe. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but something like that, who is from Battles. And that adds a bit more of a different dynamic to the music. Then this is my second favorite of the year. This one really blew me away. This is Richard Young's with the album Beyond the Valley of Ultrahits. It was released on Jaguar. And originally it was only available as a CD, but this was re-released in 2010. But it really came out in 2009 at first. So Richard Young's is more of an experimental artist. He does lots of really improvisational things, but on this album, he basically made a pop album, and I think it's really incredible. If you like Brian Eno and Robert Wyatt, their poppier stuff, I definitely recommend this because it shares a lot of similar kind of melodic qualities as Robert Wyatt and Brian Eno. It's kind of got a bit of an experimental edge, I could say. So number one favorite album of the year is probably not surprising at all, but it's Animal Collective's Merriweather Post-Pavillion. Also have their Fall Be Kind EP. It was really nice to see Animal Collective succeed with this album. They got a much bigger fan base with this album, and it got a lot of critical acclaim, and deservedly so, because they really have a lot of energy here, and they're kind of mixing electronics into their music, which I think is great. And it's really quite psychedelic while still being really poppy. So they have kind of a youthful energy that I really like about them. And even though they did get a much bigger fan base, they've also gotten a bit of backlash with this album. I guess people on the internet largely like to make complaints just as much as they like to make compliments, but it's nice to see them have such a bigger fan base. Actually, they almost headlined at Coachella. They played just before the Arcade Fire at night, and they had this huge crowd in front of them. And for a band like Animal Collective to have that, I think is just incredible. And I think, you know, this album they have to thank for that. So that's it. That's my list. There's a lot more that I don't have on vinyl, so I'll post those in the description box so you can see all of them. And so again, Compact in the background. I'll see you again next time.